Well, these days, a lot of people have dietary restrictions, and as a caterer and former private chef for the Toronto Raptors, our next guest knows a thing or two about how to please people with very strict diets.
Here to share her favorite tasty food swaps that will please everyone is Chef Tamara Madison.
Thank you.
Wow. I mean, can I just start with like the question maybe that's not just on my mind, maybe everyone's mind. What is it like, that experience, cooking for the Toronto Raptors? Because I would imagine they don't mess around with their diet.
Well, that's what I tell people is they'd be surprised. They actually do.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Basketball players, they love to eat, or just athletes in general, they love to eat. And a lot of people will assume that they're on some sort of strict diet. It's the complete opposite. They literally can typically eat whatever they want. They have so much calories to burn, so they just like eat everything.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Can you imagine?
I know.
I know.
No, I can't.
Okay, so let's get to the food you've brought because it looks spectacular.
Smells good.
First up is a coconut milk battered chicken slider.
Yes,
So talk to us about the swap you did to make it gluten-free.
So instead of using all-purpose flour, which is what I usually use as the dredge, I use rice flour. So it's 100% rice.
Okay.
And so it takes the gluten away. The bun you're eating is actually also a gluten-free brioche bun.
Oh my God.
Gluten-free, girl.
This is so good.
I know.
And you made it dairy-free too? Did I hear that?
Dairy-free, gluten-free, all the way through.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you swapped buttermilk for coconut milk.
Coconut milk, yep.
Okay. All I know is that this tastes amazing, but how does that impact taste? Sorry that I'm speaking with my mouth.
Because I feel like buttermilk is such, when you think about deep frying chicken, it feels like it's, everyone does it in buttermilk.
Yes, so a lot of the times people think that buttermilk has this like amazing flavor, and that's what it's giving the food, the amazing flavor. If you drank buttermilk right now, you'd probably throw up. It doesn't taste the greatest. It doesn't taste the greatest, but the acidity helps break down the muscles and makes it like pretty much tenderizes like the meat, right? And so it's awesome to like have marinating overnight, but the coconut milk, it does have a lot of like fat, and so it kind of sucks onto the chicken really well.
Oh, that's great.
You don't taste it that much though. It's a mellow flavor. So realistically, you don't really tell the difference.
I can't tell the difference at all.
All I just know is that that was amazing.
Delicious, and I'm gonna wolf this down backstage. You've also done a vegetarian version here. Tell us about the swap.
So instead of doing chicken, I have here enoki mushrooms.
Oh, wow, what a great idea.
Yeah.
And this dish can also be, and this is something I'm not familiar with.
Yes.
FODMAP friendly?
FODMAP
Can
friendly.
you explain FODMAP to me?
So FODMAP, the actual abbreviation for the letters are super long and would be a tongue twister for me. But it's for people that basically have irritable bowel syndrome.
Okay.
And so there's certain foods that their bodies just can't break down the carbs or the sugars, and so they have to swap certain things. Flour being one of them.
Okay.
For another example, like broccoli, they can't have like maybe the stem or like the stalk of the broccoli, but they can have the crown.
Floret, okay.
Right. So unfortunately for my first client, he had this issue, and so I had to do a lot of exploring to try to like, you know, make things fun, but still make it seem like he's not missing anything.
And so the mushroom version is FODMAP friendly?
FODMAP friendly. Instead of a hot honey, which is what I usually drizzle on it, I use hot maple, because FODMAP people can't have honey.
Okay. Yeah, I did low FODMAP. It's really restrictive. So if you can cook within the confines of what a low FODMAP diet says, you're very talented. Because you can't eat a lot of things and they don't always taste good.
Wow.
Let's move on to the next thing, because you have made a dairy-free pasta. So tell us all about it and how you made it.
So for this is what we call a Rasta pasta. A lot of people are like, Rastas don't even eat pasta. I know, but like just go with it here. So Rasta pasta is basically a jerk chicken and a coconut milk cream sauce. So typically it's in regular cream, but we've swapped regular cream again for my favorite coconut milk, because it's nice, thick, it has that fat.
Tamara, there's some heat in this.
There's some heat.
Oh, yeah.
There's some heat. Oh, I forgot to give you the heads up. There's some heat.
She's fine. I'm not. I'm just gonna.
She's the little baby.
But it is so delicious. I'm just gonna suck it up.
Yeah.
My God.
There's some like coconut flakes on top, so people are like, oh, what about the cheese? Instead of cheese, I use the coconut flakes. Give it a little bit of sweetness.
It fools the mind,
It does.
It does fool the mind.
It does.
I'm curious to know, when it comes to swapping sort of dairy milk for plant-based milks in recipes.
Yes.
It's not always like an easy swap, is it?
No.
Like, what do you have to consider?
You have to consider the consistency of the milk that you're using.
Okay.
Because let's say, for example, something like a rice milk or an almond milk, way thinner than coconut milk, right? They don't have a fat.
Right.
So that's why I love using coconut milk, because it makes things creamy. Even maybe cashew, but again, it's not as fattening as coconut milk.
So what happens with those thin plant-based milks is
Yeah.
just going to thin out the dish.
It's just thin.
And you'd have to add other stuff to probably thicken it.
To thicken it.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of adding things to thicken things. I like to reduce and make things
Ooh, I love
creamy.
that.
Yeah.
Love it.
I love
it.
that.
So your final dish is beer-battered fish tacos. So tell us about the swaps you've done here.
You have to say beer battered with quotations.
Beer battered.
Because there's no beer in this at all. Instead, we have actually sparkling water to substitute beer, which has
no
gluten,
way.
right?
Same diff, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
same thing again, no all-purpose flour, it's rice flour in the dredge. Mix equal parts, the rice flour mix.
Oh
and
my God, Tamara, so good. This is delicious.
This might be my favorite one. I don't know.
Is it?
Actually, they're all so good.
Do you like
I can't
those?
take, but this one is
Yeah,
spectacular.
no gluten whatsoever. Corn tortillas.
Wow. Okay. How would you deep fry at home? Like, tell us who have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is so crunchy. So
Yes.
what is your trick to doing this at home?
Well, you have a lot of options these days, thank God, it's 2024. You can either buy a deep fryer if you're just one of those people that don't love to stay at the stove, or you can, if you want to use a pot, buy a thermometer to make sure you know what the temperature of your oil is. That's like usually the biggest issue is people burn the outside and then the inside is like raw.
Done that.
Yeah, I think I've done it too many times. So that's one of the tips I would give for sure.
I don't know if this is a good or a bad question to be asking a chef. What about air fryers? You can make these in an air fryer?
Like they have one, right?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I
okay.
had to ask.
You just brought the heat.
I just had to ask.
Okay. No, it's a good question because almost everybody I know has an air fryer now. I personally don't like the consistency of the outside when I use an air fryer with things that are like coated with flour.
Okay.
You know, or like breadcrumbs. It kind of gets a little gummy or like weird later on. So I say these are for the people that are not afraid to fry things. But if you are going to use an air fryer, it's like
There's judgment happening everywhere right now. Yeah. No.
But you can just take the flour out. Just make sure you focus on the seasonings and make sure that the flavors are there.
Okay.
And just use the air fryer. Way healthier for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
These are excellent.
I have to say, every single one of these was phenomenal to me.
Phenomenal.
So thank you. Phenomenal. Thank you so much for sharing all of these dishes with us.
Thank you.
All right, well, lunch is served. Fantastic.
Hey there, what did you think? Drop your comments below and join the conversation. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can find more on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. See you soon.